down for you tonight. Dr. Jha is standing by, and we begin with ABC's Whit Johnson leading us off.
Tonight, a new weapon on the horizon in the fight against the virus. Johnson & Johnson announcing its one-dose vaccine is effective at preventing COVID-19.
I'm really hopeful that yet we will have another tool. We will
effective
have
in preventing COVID-19.
Produce in large quantities and get out to the people.
It would be the third vaccine in the U.S. Johnson & Johnson says their vaccine was 66% effective overall
66%?
in preventing moderate disease.
What does that mean? Moderate disease.
Severe disease.
85%.
100% at preventing what we fear most, hospitalization and death.
Ah.
Pfizer and Moderna are about 95% effective at preventing moderate disease.
I gotta pause this. Okay, again, another comment. It sounds like this works better than Pfizer or Moderna when you're struggling for your life on a ventilator, because it's saying it's 100%, as opposed to Pfizer and Moderna, which is about 92% or something like 94%. But yet, it sounds like on the onset of getting this, if it's just mild symptoms like the flu, it can only be 67% effective in preventing those symptoms, whereas Pfizer and Moderna are better than that. Is that right? I don't know if I'm interpreting this news reporting right with all these different phrases they're using. Let's go on.
But Dr. Fauci making it clear this new vaccine is a game changer.
This has important potential and real implications both domestically and globally, because as many of you are aware of, this is a single shot vaccine in which you start to see efficacy anywhere from 7 to 10 days following the first and only shot.
The vaccine also tested in South Africa, where that highly contagious variant is raging. The efficacy fell to 57% for moderate disease, showing how a strong variant can chip away at vaccines.
This is a wake-up call to all of us. We'll have to be nimble to be able to just adjust readily to make versions of the vaccine.
And the CDC director saying assume every single case involves a variant.
I think we should be treating every infection as if it's a variant. We know that these viruses are going to mutate. They generally mutate to the advantage of the virus, and that's how we get these more dominant strains.
The more infectious UK mutant now expected to be the dominant strain by the end of March, adding even greater urgency to vaccinate millions.
New York is desperately trying to ramp up the speed of the vaccine rollout with mass vaccination sites like this one here in Queens, an effort to reach thousands of people in one of the areas hardest hit by the pandemic.
Rhonda Sanford finally hitting the jackpot.
You spent an entire day online just trying to get an appointment?
I've been spending weeks calling and online until you just give up and you walk away.
Health officials determined not to let vaccine go to waste. When a freezer failed at a community hospital in Seattle, teams scrambled to set up overnight emergency vaccination sites and got the word out.
I put up the back call, and we arrived within an hour and a half. We just have a lot of people who care a lot about and very passionate about making sure the community gets vaccinated.
I heard that it has to be used tonight, and I was like, tonight? You know. So I took the opportunity.
In just over 4 hours, all 1,600 doses were given out.
So let's get right to Whit Johnson. He's back with us tonight from Johnson & Johnson headquarters in New Jersey. And Whit, if authorized by the FDA, as we've said here, this would be the third vaccine available in the U.S. So give us a reality check here. How soon could this happen?
David, Johnson & Johnson plans to apply for emergency use authorization next week. An independent advisory board would then review it, and the FDA could authorize with shots going into arms by the end of February. David?
All right, Whit Johnson leading us off again tonight. Whit, thank you. I know many of you at home have many questions about this new vaccine.
Which is the ones I just raised.
So let's get right to Dr. Ashish Jha, the Dean of the Brown University School of Public Health. Dr. Jha, always great to have you with us. And we hear all of these numbers, this new number for Johnson & Johnson, one of them key, 66% effective against moderate disease. But our viewers will remember when we reported Pfizer and Moderna's numbers against moderate disease were about 95%.
Okay, let's just stop there. Moderate disease, what is that? Is that like COVID? They're referring to COVID-19. They say moderate disease. Is that the symptoms they're referring to as moderate of COVID-19? Does that mean moderate like, okay, I feel the flu, I got aches and pains, I got a fever, I lost my sense of smell, Some people don't even get fevers, and their aches and pains, and they lose their sense of smell. That's considered moderate, like having the flu. And yet they're saying the Pfizer and Moderna are 95% effective against that, as opposed to Johnson & Johnson single dose shot, which is only 67% against that. But then they go on to say Johnson & Johnson is 85%. It climbs when you're getting more severe symptoms, and then by the time you're dying, all of a sudden Johnson & Johnson kicks in like a star racetrack runner at the very end of the race and pulls ahead of everybody to stop that death and make you survive and pull you off a ventilator and cure you or help, whatever. Let's hear what he has to say regarding my understanding of this.
So help us square this. Dr. Fauci is saying this is still a new weapon, real implications here because it's a single shot. How do you compare those numbers?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so David, thanks for having me on. I have to say, I'm really excited about this. I know the 66% is what people are going to focus on.
Right.
But this vaccine really does prevent severe disease, the fear complications of hospitalizations and deaths. That's what we should be focused on. And I think this is a really important weapon, especially since it's a single dose, does not need to be frozen. I think this is great news.
So you say focus on the 85% effective against severe disease and 100% effective, they say, against hospitalizations and deaths. So that's where we'll focus. In the meantime,
100%
the UK variant we heard today could
against
become the
death.
dominant variant. Now by the end of March, early April, the CDC director, Dr. Rochelle Walensky, said we should be treating everyone as if they have one of these new variants. But I'm curious, are we doing enough in this country, sequencing as it's called, what scientists do to track these new variants?
Yeah, we're not. We need to do a lot more sequencing. I mean, I assume at this point that the variant is everywhere across the nation. But instead of me assuming, it would be really helpful if we were doing ongoing genomic surveillance. That's something we've really got to ramp up. I know Dr. Walensky has talked about the importance of that, and I want to see that happening more across the nation.
All right, tracking it along with us, Dr. Jauer. Thanks to you again for being with us on a Friday night. In the meantime, we move
All
on
right,
to
Ronald. I'm going to head. This is on a recording, as you can see, because I paused it. I was watching from the news. But let me stop this now. Okay, that going on to different news in the cap. But there you go, Ronald. I'd like to get your feedback on this regarding this Pfizer and Moderna versus the Johnson & Johnson and the numbers that they just focused on, and my comments, if I was reading this and interpreting this correctly, between the 67% for moderate and then more severe up to 85%, and then by the time you're going to die, all of a sudden this Johnson & Johnson kicks in 100% in preventing death when you're fighting for your life on a ventilator. That's sort of what they were saying. And it was a game changer, and both of those doctors said very good things about it. Okay, signing out. I'll stop this video. And Ronald, thanks for taking 8.5 minutes out to watch this. Of course, it's 8 minutes and 20 seconds as I talk. Bye-bye.